Recording through USB Type-C. Well, here we go again. My name is Mark from Mark Type Photography, and I don't know why I'm looking away over there when the camera's there. And this is the daughter Charlotte, who's dressed up like she's going on an Arctic adventure. And me, well, I'm just freezing. But anyway, where we are today is it's Spelgadam, and hopefully the audio's quite clear. So this is going to be a test for any microphone setup today, as in it's fucking freezing, and well, hopefully I've protected the mic well enough that you can hear anything that I'm saying. If you can't, well, you can join me down at the bottom here, and hopefully there will be in a wee bit of shelter, and I'll show you why I'm here today. And once again, like I say, it's just nice to get out, and if the shot doesn't actually turn out any good, then, well, so be it. But I need the exercise. The brother doesn't sleep the same as me, so you can see over here the wee Swifty. So this was kind of meant to be my return to vlogging per se. And as you can see, I'm rusty because I'm keep looking over here and I've no idea why, considering the camera's just there. So the weather conditions are absolutely shite. The problem was the sun was meant to be here, coming behind me, and when we arrived this morning it was clear, and now it's just all clagged in. So I'm not going to get the shot that I came for, but why I did come was a return to vlogging, which I used to do many times, and I wanted to introduce my new camera and lens setup. As some of you know, I was doing podcasts for Coffee and Photography NI, but the problem with that is I wasn't getting any support from Coffee and Photography NI, as in the people that were actually in the podcast didn't bother their whole even sharing the podcast, even though they'd mentioned to it in it. So after talking to a friend of mine, we agreed it's probably not worth my time and effort to do so we're just not going to do it anymore. When I was going through my Lightroom back catalogue, I actually spotted the shot from just down below, that it was here maybe 3-4 years ago, when I just got the camera and I added these funky filters to it, and I've done this really cool effect, and no, it was terrible. Honestly, the shot was terrible. You're never going to see it. I've just deleted it. So I've come back today to try and recreate that shot, only obviously a better version of it. You can see my daughter looking like she's pregnant because she can't walk down hills without putting her belly out, so it's funny. So let me just explain what I've got set up, and what I've actually purchased. So I went back to Sony. I'm a trusty A7R4. I bought a brand new one of them. It's the R4A, so it means the screen's a bit brighter. The resolution, everything's the exact same. Paired with, rather than having my Sony stuff, I went for a Sigma. So this is the Mark II Sigma 2470 2.8. On the front of it, I actually did have a polarizer. It was part of a case set that I bought, the magnetic ones. That had a massive big polarizer on it. So I was able to jerry-rig it and rip it off and put it on the 82mm thread that the Sigma has. So I'm going 24 f8. The reason why I've got my ISO to 200 is I want the 1/3 shutter speed at f8. So them's the settings that they gave me. I always shoot in manual, I always shoot in raw. We're currently sitting at 24mm at f8. My focus spot area is going to be in and around here, sort of the third within the frame. So what I've framed up is a shot that I've taken previously, only I've come back today to try and better it, and unfortunately the weather conditions hasn't worked with me, but sure, hey, oh, it is what it is. So what I've framed up is essentially the bank, the water bank, which is here, and it goes into here, which is the leaf rink, and then we go out into the next pinnacle, and then we've got the mountain ranges behind us with big muddy sky. And what I was hoping for is that behind me, when the sun was going to come up, it was going to light up here. I checked all my apps, I've done all my diligence, but unfortunately it just hasn't worked out. But landscape photography is a trial and error kind of thing, and like I say, just because the day didn't work out doesn't mean that next week's won't. So I've got my spot focus on, just at the sort of second pinnacle there. We're currently at F8. Back button focus. 5-second timer. And hopefully my daughter will be off the deck and she doesn't move. And we'll just preview that, see what the water looks like. So I'm not exactly sold on the water. I think it's still a wee bit too harsh. So what we'll do is we'll try and increase or decrease the shutter speed. Try and smooth it off just a wee tad more. We'll still leave it at f8. I use my light meter and my histogram and continuous. So I trust both. On this Sony a7R4A, by the way, I trust it like anything. So I'll just dull this down for you. And again, back button focus, 5-second timer. And there's our shot. Now what we'll do is we'll preview the shot. So I like to go in. I like to zoom around and see. Just a wee quick test. So in the field test, I can tell you that this Sigma lens is as sharp as the Sony G Master, which I did own, and all the corners. And as I said, it's not the perfect shot. It's not what I wanted. I wanted light on the sky, light on the thing, but I've got mood. And hopefully what I can do is I can bring this down in post. And I can add a moody background in. We'll just take another shot. And that should give him a sky. So as a landscape photographer, you just have to overcome these things and still get a shot. It's not what I wanted, it's not the greatest of shots, but like I say, it'll now be down as a scouting mission. I've came back to the place that I've come 3 years ago and got a nice shot. A year ago, probably, even more. What I did have was the absolutely massive tele lens on, and I got this, which is the water treatment house. Let me just zoom in for you. I got a big massive strip of light just across that water treatment house, and the rest of it was all sort of muted. And you can probably see that's the sky that I was kind of hoping for, but it's clagged in back there. So we'll hang about. We'll just hopefully let the sun come up a tad more, and hopefully the sky will play with us, because I think it's a nice enough shot to hang about. Give it an hour, why not? Say, this is no hate to anybody that's in the Coffee and Photography NI group that actually did like the podcast and thought the podcast idea was a good idea. Dave Kerr will tell you, Jonathan will tell you, and Andre will tell you as well. I put a lot of money, time and effort into that for not an awful lot of reward. As in, I can see in the algorithm not who's watching it per se, but how many people's watched it, how many people's watched it to the fullest. And I don't think people either like me enough that I'm the host of it, because I found that Dave's was very well received, Jonathan's not so much, and even Wendy, who is a massive Instagrammer. So like I say, I can't put in all this effort, time and money into a project, look at the algorithm and think, well, over 400 people has watched this, but only 32 people have liked it, and 107 people has actually subscribed to want to watch more. So it's either a popularity contest, and I'm not very popular, which I can see. I'm like Marmite me, you know, either love me or hate me. And the beauty about life is, I really don't care if you love or you hit me. I'll always find something. So take two. I've come around here, which is a bit sketchy because it's slippy. And what I've framed up is what you can see it yourself. It's just this sort of leading line out to that wee bit of light out there, and a vertical. I'm trying to drag the shutter, and just on test shots, I'm getting something like this.
Remember the last time you used a public restroom?
I would like to go further this way, but I can't. And I can't take the camera around any more this way because there's a beam just there. And this is what I say about edge patrol people. Can you see this beam? Which is this beam here. So I can't swing the camera any more that way. That's where I would actually like to be because that's now straight. Now I have two options. I can zoom in to hopefully take that away, but then I'll lose my rocks at the bottom. Or I can pull back just enough, but unfortunately this beam here is now in the road, but I do have my path to the light because I can't go anywhere this way and I can't go anywhere else. So to make the best of a bad situation, I might actually have to Photoshop this out, which I hate doing because I like to be true. So let me just drag the shutter a wee tad more. And this is why I should have stopped off at my friend Dave's house and collected my old filters that he's graciously offered to give me back, which is awful kind of him. And 5 second timer, get my hand off it and we'll see what happens. And look, like I say, not the greatest of shots, but it is what it is, and I'm just trying to polish a turd at this point. But do you know what? It's still nice to be out here. It's nice to get back to it, even though if this vlog is absolutely pure crap and I may not put it out, may not see the light of day. But this kind of is landscape photography down to a T, where I get up really early in the morning, only when I'm fit and healthy to do so. Get my ass out to a point where I think that would be a nice shot. Check all the weather apps and say, right, okay, so we're in for decent enough weather. This could work. So now my daughter's away, I can speak a bit more freely. So I suffer really bad with mental health issues. I also suffer really bad with my health. I've got rheumatoid and osteoarthritis, which doesn't help when you're trying to walk anywhere. So if you know me, you know I still get out and I still try my best, but a lot of the times my head would let me down before my body would let me down, and or my body would let me down, then obviously that takes a big effect on my head, and I let it grind me down. It's based on the coffee and photography podcast thing again. I enjoyed doing it. My biggest problem was I didn't feel like I was getting support, especially even from the people within the group who I was doing the actual podcast with. I mean, I know Dave supports me highly, and I appreciate his friendship down to the no end, and he knows this. I've talked to him, and we've both discussed this, and getting rid of the 2 Fuji films and getting rid of all the gear that I had was probably the best move that he ever did. So I've got one microphone now, which I have a lapel mic on, it's what the dead cat is. I've used my mobile phone, which is what I intended to do anyway, when I was going out to meet you guys. So I'm going to continue on, and I'm going to see who wants to come out and meet me, or who wants to let me meet them, per se, and go out with them and go to their locations and see what interests them in photography and what interests them actually in the photo that they're taking. So I plan on doing that. But yeah, I'm struggling at the minute. I'm struggling big style, and To the people that have reached out and offered just to be there for me, I appreciate you wholeheartedly. And like I say, Dave, this is a shout out to you, Matt. Thank you, buddy. So as you can see, the light is now coming through onto my sky and onto my scene like I anticipated that it would do. So it's always worth sticking around. And like I say, what we've framed up, and let me just dull this down for you so you can see. Mightn't be the best shot, and I always try and do a X-pan like thing. And I know it's not a Hasselblad camera, and I'll explain that one day in a vlog. Of why I sold absolutely everything, including my beloved A7R4s, my G-Master lenses that I had. I sold everything, absolutely sold everything. Did I make the right decision? Did I make the wrong decision? I made the wrong decision at the start. I should have just stuck to my guns and filmed things as I wanted to film them, because nobody really gives a rat's ass anyway. I mean, if it was filmed in 4K, 24 frames a second using a mobile phone sensor on YouTube, none of you guys are going to know the difference between that and a top of the range sort of film production camera, because you are mostly watching it on a mobile phone screen. So ultimately, if the shot turns out any good, I'll put it up next. And not the Gavin Hardcastle for this line. My name is Mark from Mark Tye Photography. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, any sort of social media platform. Just trying to get my name out there, just trying to be an active photographer. And like I say, if the shot turns out any good, we'll throw it up next and nod to Gavin Hardcastle. You can probably see down on one of them rocks down there, there's a pile of lichen, and if you wouldn't mind subscribing, and I much appreciate you. Thank you very much for this ramble. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen to me. And if you do like this, like I say, like and subscribe. I plan on coming out a lot more. Thanks, guys.